Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Ashraf Khalid dan bersama saya
Ishraq Kamaruddin.
Selamat datang ke Apa Cerita Podcast, di mana kita mendengar kisah individu-individu yang berjaya dan menarik untuk dijadikan sebagai inspirasi dan teladan. Alright, so Wak,
Yes, up.
today kita ada a very special guest. Dia adalah anak Malaysia yang menetap di luar negara.
Yes.
And I think she has a story that a lot of us can learn from.
Correct.
Something yang bagi aku is a topic yang kita patut cakap.
Yep.
Kan? So that we can also inspire people yang probably in the same situation to do something about it. And maybe her story can also, help change someone's life. Kan?
Yep.
So without further ado, you want to take it away, Wak?
It'll be my pleasure, up. Tapi sebelum tu kita nak sarankan kepada viewers luar sana yang belum lagi subscribe ke Apa Cerita, do subscribe.
Yes.
Right? And also kita sekarang ada campaign
Nak ubah member.
So kepada mana yang belum tu, tariklah kawan-kawan untuk join. Jadi kita share lebih manfaat kepada lagi ramai orang.
Yes. And jangan lupa juga untuk turn on the notification button.
Yes.
So that you guys tahu setiap kali kita keluarkan kita punya episod.
Correct. Okay. Alright, without further ado, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. She is an architect by qualification, a world-traveling photographer by passion, and a change maker by heart. From fighting for anti-stalking laws in Malaysia to using her platform to champion women's safety, she's someone who proves that being young doesn't mean you can't make real change. Please help me welcome the one and only Acacia Diana.
Hi Acacia.
Hi Acacia. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Acacia. Aku dah check, betul tak?
Yes.
Bukan Acacia.
Acacia bukan.
Bukan.
Hi Acacia, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. It's either Acacia in Malaysia or Acacia in the UK.
Wow. I prefer that one, Acacia.
Acacia. Okay.
Tapi kalau I balik Malaysia cakap hi, I'm Acacia, orang cakap poyonya.
Faham.
Bukan ke you daripada raup dia kata kan? Tak ada ke raup?
Bukan Shalom.
Bukan nak Shalom.
But for someone that stays in UK for quite some time, right? You don't have that, cup of tea kind of accent.
Yeah, I think it's code switching. So kalau I balik sini, I start talking like this.
Oh.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Oh, kalau dekat UK you jadi British sikit lah.
Yeah, I think it depends on who you talk to.
Bro, kalau aku sampai sana pun aku
Lepas tu datang balik pun cakap ada lagi sikit kan.
Yeah.
Even though you're there for like
Yeah.
2 weeks or something.
But I have some friends yang Malaysian yang bertetap di London. They do have that accent strong, especially berapa lama kan? I think more than 10 years you've been there, right?
Yeah, I've been there most of my life already. Tapi I think dia macam it's easy to code switch. I don't make it as a huge part of my identity.
Understand?
So it depends lah wherever I am. Kalau kat Malaysia, cakap Malaysia macam ni je lah.
Alright.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you so much for coming to our program, Apa Cerita. Right? I was telling Up because this is the first time that I've met Acacia. Acacia for the first time, and you look much more beautiful in person rather than online. So for you guys yang tak nampak, kita dekat ni nampak kan, just to share also, right?
Betul.
Okay,
Adakah
anyways.
cinta bakal berputih? Jadi tak ada soalan. Adakah cinta bakal berputih? Jadi tu.
No, she's seeing some people's.
Okay, Acacia.
Okay.
Before we get into all the amazing things that you have done, kan?
Yeah, but before, I want to tell the viewers also that you guys want to stay tuned because Acacia has a very inspiring story. Dia seseorang yang you grew up dekat Malaysia, tapi you chase.
She grew up in tak apa, nanti kita dengar cerita dia.
Yeah, and she chased her dreams sampai menetap di London for many years, and she was also the youth Canon photographer punya youth ambassador, and also a few big companies, BMW, etc. And not to mention,
Malaysia Airlines.
yeah, she changed the landscape of Malaysia punya law also with a new bill passing in 2022.
Kan? I think
Yeah.
only a few of our guests yang pernah change the law in Malaysia, and you're one of them.
Betul.
Kan?
So you guys want to stick around to hear this story, but before that, let's get to know Acacia first.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Up.
So yeah, before we go into other things that you are doing, let's take a step back. Pasal aku pula ya. Kita boleh ni, aku boleh balik. Kau yang pasal ni buat semua.
Apa aku buat? Aku tak buat apa pun.
Because I edit this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Acacia, before we get into all the amazing things that you are doing today,
Yeah.
let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your childhood, where you grew up, your family, and how your upbringing have shaped you to be the person you are today?
So I was, alhamdulillah, fortunate enough to grow up in a family where education is very, very important. So my mom, memang she did her degree overseas, she did her master's overseas, she did her PhD overseas.
Dekat mana?
My mom did I think she did her degree dekat Australia and then master's and PhD in the UK.
Oh wow.
So she had me when she was doing her master's kat UK. So I was born in the UK. So belum apa lagi dah sampai UK and then I came back here to study a bit of darjah 1 sampai darjah 2 and then pindah balik UK because she was doing her PhD. So most of my childhood life was dictated by my mother's education lah. And at the time, my dad was growing his career. So we grew up in Manchester just with my mom.
Oh.
So she brought the three of us, my 3 siblings and I, anak sulung. And she raised us in the UK on her scholarship money while doing her PhD.
Wow.
And she had to work 3 jobs just to support our living expenses.
Wow.
And 2 of those jobs were cleaners.
Oh
And
my God.
she was a cleaner at my primary school. So you bayangkan, you macam dah lah you anak immigrant. Masa tu pun baru nak belajar English kan. You macam kecil, macam muka gelap sikit, mata sepet sort of thing.
Firstborn, eh?
Yeah, I was the firstborn. And like when the kids found out that my mom was a cleaner at the school, they were like, "Oh my God, you're like, you little Asian girl, you're like your mother support, she's cleaning my crap, this sort of thing."
Tough.
And yeah, I mean it's like kid stuff lah, they macam look down on you and stuff like that, and used to get bullied and stuff. And after school juga macam my mom akan stay berlambat lah because she wants to settle the work, and we would help her out. And I akan tolong lah dia macam kemas, me and my sister tolong dia kemas, mop semua. And like sekolah rendah tu sama dengan nursery, kindergarten, and kids would like pee on the walls and stuff. So at the age of like 9, 10, I was helping my mom cleaning all this. And I remember thinking macam, I hope my kids never get to do this. It wasn't from shame. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed for my mom. No. I recognized that I was so proud of her. Tapi macam, I remember thinking, okay, I recognize this point that we had to do this at this time. I understand that this is not a place of privilege. It was a place of necessity. And even though we were in the UK, my mom was pursuing a PhD, I recognized that there were a lot of sacrifices that went into it. So we grew up and alhamdulillah my mom got a PhD, and I balik Malaysia. Masa balik Malaysia, it was so different because semua orang macam, Mina ni datang dari UK tau.
Dah jadi the cool girl lah instead of the cleaner punya anak jadi cool girl.
Yeah, so daripada the cleaner punya anak yang orang pandang rendah, I paling pendek, I paling kecil, I paling nerd lah. Sebab kita kan we want to do well in school, paling nerd lah apa kan. Dia macam pada macam, Mina ni boleh cakap English tu. So it was a complete like 180 from my childhood. And I remember thinking like, masa I was like 12 or 13, like, okay, like, why do people see me like this here? This is weird. Padahal kat sana people don't really appreciate this facade, this sort of persona kan, you baru balik overseas. Because you were so young, you didn't understand that it was super big thing untuk orang belajar overseas back then lah kan. So I was like, so it opened up my eyes to the different values and how you could carry yourself. So in different places, there are different perspectives. In different places, there are different cultures, different values. Like people value this, people value that. And from then on, I was very aware that, okay, there are so many other perspectives in the world. Maybe I can get to see them. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, like, what does your dad do? Like, and then when your mom came back to Malaysia, kan, dia kerja apa? Was your life still susah ataupun masa tu macam dekat Malaysia ni kira macam dah
after PhD for your mom?
Yeah, and all that.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, like, because my dad was he was doing accounting in the corporate world. So we were a very, alhamdulillah, sort of comfortable middle-class family in a way. And again, like I said, education was a very important thing. But one of the different things that I noticed that my parents cultivated in us, me and my siblings, was that they really pupuk our creative side. I think sebab my mom architect kot. So
your mom was an architect?
Yeah, my mom was doing architecture. So dia macam, my dad bawa kita orang pergi art classes, piano classes. My dad akan duduk dengan kita orang after school and he would buy me like crayons and draw them with me. And he will always macam put value and emphasis in that. While other parents were like, okay, STEM, okay, like, even though he was studying accounting, he was like, okay, ambil bio, ambil chemistry, ambil physics. my mom was like, ambil lukisan kejuruteraan lah. Ambil LK lah.
Which is architect.
Which is in line with architecture, because I think they recognize that value. So I was like, okay. And that opened up my perspective a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you, right? So was it that time where you found your love and passionate interest towards visual photography and all this? Was it during that time in your visual artistry, etc., right?
Maybe. I think it helped, because if you start noticing it at a young age, you lagi macam aware of it. You tak macam terkongkong sangat dalam sekolah and tuition and after school activities and kawan-kawan and main games semua, you know. My parents at a very young age, I think I remember my mum saying, Mami masa umur 9 tahun dah start baca newspaper tau. You bila nak start? And I was like, 9 years old? I'm not interested in that. Like, what are you talking about? But they set that standard to think in a different way, which was very, very interesting. And so because I became more aware of it, I started consuming different media. So like even at that age, because there were so many books at our house, I started reading benda-benda like Reader's Digest, National Geographic, like all these articles and magazines and things that you realize were beyond what you were living in every day. So I was living in Shah Alam, pergi sekolah SMK. It was like a normal school life. But in my head, and at that time as well, internet baru nak naik. So you were like Googling all these random things, and lagi lah you see all these iklan from all the other side of the world, all these like kono travel stuff, and I was like, I made a list. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see these places one day.
Wow. So that's how the passion for the travel
I think so.
came to be, right?
Yeah, I think so. I remember like die, I was like, I want to go see the world. I don't care. Like whatever it is. And I want to...
How old were you this time? 9 years old?
Dude, I don't know. I think I was like 12, 13, 14. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why now I think Acacia is like every time travelling kan.
Yeah.
Kalau if I go to London pun macam Acacia, which part of the world are you in now kan? Are you in London kan?
Yeah.
Even though she stays there, but she's always travelling kan.
And I think living in London is quite a good hub, right? To
travel everywhere.
Everywhere is like cheaper and all that. I remember my days when I was studying there.
I'm curious, right? Masa you balik tu kan orang started to treat you different kan? Did that change you in any way? Did that give you any confidence sikit ke? Ataupun
I'm from
jadi
London,
bongkak?
right?
You're not cool enough to sit with me.
Did I change me? I macam rasa excited tu adalah, because daripada orang treat macam sampah sampai orang treat macam princess, right? Oh my god.
Just valued.
Yeah, exactly. So when I left for the UK masa darjah 2 tu, I was like kecil, pendek, gemuk sikit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was a bit chubby and hingusan lagi. So I balik macam rambut panjang, all that, everything. And then it didn't change me so much as I rasa pelik. Because I was like, why are you you knew me like 4 years ago and you treated me like macam as anybody else. So now I double UK and you suddenly put value in me. Like, why is this any different than me a couple of years back? It was very weird for me. And I remember thinking, I suppose there is an advantage to traveling as well. So I macam, okay, maybe the more you're exposed to the world, the more you realize. And also macam, a part of me is like poyo sikit lah. Macam, I don't need your attention. I don't need your attention. I've got my own thing going on. Like, I'm going to leave this place. Yeah.
Alright, so fast forward sikit. You graduated from University of Greenwich with Masters of Architecture.
Yeah.
Kan? So why did you decide to pursue architecture, and how was your experience as an art enthusiast studying abroad in Greenwich? And Greenwich ni dekat mana, UK?
Yeah, it's in London actually.
In London. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a nice place. It's a beautiful place. I think my educational journey is also something that a lot of people can relate to. So I knew at a young age I wanted to go traveling and see the world and even photograph it, because I was inspired by so many photographs. And I told my mom, I was like, I want to go into media and mass comm.
Oh.
You know, after high school. Betul after high school. Wow. So I knew I want to go into media and mass comm. And my mom didn't know about it at first. Because masa I apply UPU kan, UITM semua. I letak number 1 mass comm, number 2 baru architecture. And then I pergi mass comm tu macam somehow senyap-senyap. But because my mom was a lecturer at UITM, she was a member of the faculty.
Oh, so, she's a lecturer.
Yeah, she's a lecturer. And then so the lecturers that interviewed I kat mass comm tu kenal lah my mom. So they saw me, they were like, what are you doing here? Your results are great. Like, why do you nak masuk mass comm? It was such a weird question to me. Like, why would you ask somebody who's applying for that why you want to do it? Like, why are you here? And I was like, oh, because I want to do mass comm. I want to be a photographer and, you know, be a journalist. And they were like, okay. And then suddenly my mom called and my mom found out, where are you? I'm like, I baru habis interview kat mass comm. Come out now, I'm outside. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I'm taking you to the architecture interview right now.
Masya Allah.
I tak ada slot pun tau. She's like, I'm taking you to the interview right now.
Pakai kabel lah ni.
Kabel lah.
And lepas tu dia lecture tau. She was like, I know you want to do mass comm. I know, but you know, I don't trust it. You know, anybody can do mass comm. Your architecture, you need a degree, you need a qualification, you need everything. You do architecture first. At least get your qualified degree, get your skills, and then if you want to do anything, you can do it after that.
Understand.
And I was like, okay, all right, okay. So and then in the end, I do architecture. 4 years of my life. 4 years of my life in architecture. And after degree, a part of me was like, I don't really want to do this. Like, okay, I've got the skills, I've passed, it's been great. And it made you a bit more critical. Like with arts, it's a different strain of education and intellectual thought, I think, architecture compared to mass comm. Most of my friends in mass comm ended up like, you know, becoming artists and celebrities and all that. And a part of me was like, okay, maybe I'm glad I didn't go that route because I was more into like books and reading and stuff in architecture. And then I told my mom, I think I want to study overseas now. And she's like, okay, check out scholarship. You know, I'm not gonna sponsor you. Like, go find lah. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, okay, the fastest and easiest way for me to get outside this country is to get a scholarship. Scholarship study apa? Ambil masters lah. Masters apa? Architecture lah. I applied, alhamdulillah, got it.
From?
Mara. I got it from Mara. Yeah, alhamdulillah, got it. And then like, here's the thing. In my head, I was like, okay, I did architecture, I'm doing architecture. But when I got to the UK, I was like, my priorities were so different. I was like, you know what? I'm going to travel. I don't care. Like, I'm here, I'm free, I'm going to do what I want. So, the first year that I got UK though, I think
with scholarship money.
Every month I traveled.
Cukup ke?
It's cheap.
Yeah,
so
but
if
then
you
it
know
was
how
so
to do it,
cheap.
right? If you know how to do it.
It was so cheap and I was working on the side and I was eating Maggi. You know, I was a student and I was seeing the world. And that was when I started tangkap gambar. Because in architecture pun dia ajar you how to tangkap gambar and stuff like that. And I started tangkap gambar. The funny thing is, masa I ambil degree, I ada course photography tau. And in that photography course, I dapat C.
Wow.
So it wasn't something that crossed my mind. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's not for me. Tapi I just bought a camera for a hobby. Like, let's try it. You know, let's try and travel and do it.
Yeah, because when you took my photos pun macam
Hey, coach. I rasa subject tu kena cantik lah.
Yeah, dia dah biasa dengan mountains and you know. But this is Ashraf Khalid. Cool.
Kan? The aura pun dah cukup dah for the photo kan.
Backup.
I don't know, other people take good photo of me. Saya tiba-tiba
Kena bayar kan.
Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, so I started taking photos and not going to classes or going to classes like kalau class on Wednesday, Tuesday petang tu I balik. Like I will go like from Thursday morning sampai Tuesday petang.
Like
just
max out.
Like max out. Like I didn't care. And at one point, the teachers were like, are you committed to this? Do you actually want to do this? And honestly, actually, the first year I failed. I failed my master's my first year.
Oh my God.
Because I just didn't care. I was like, whatever, this is not my priority. And then, thankfully, with my parents' suggestions, guidance, they were like, sudah diri sikit you ni budak scholarship. And I was like, okay, fine. And alhamdulillah, like, after 2 years, I stuck with it, got graduated with honours.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. But during that process, because I was travelling so much.
Dia banyak macam zup.
Very easy. Senang je. Cuma malas je. No. I'm kidding. But during that process, because I think masa tu in 2016, Instagram baru nak up. I think influencers was like rising up. Like people were sharing their lifestyle content, traveling content. And I was sharing my content. And people were connecting to it. They were like, hey, this is nice. Hey, your photography is nice. Hey, I love following your journey. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And it started like a sort of like, people were following me for the things that I was sharing, the journey I was sharing. And I was at the time one of the few young independent Malaysian girls who was out there traveling the world, seeing the world in a way that they wish they could, you know, through the lens of a young female solo traveler and photographing these spaces. And it was so nice because I started cultivating a community of people who had similar interests, who wanted to see the world, who wanted to berseni juga in that sense. And at one point as well, obviously as you're going up, there's always going to be doubters. And like as your followers naik, semua everything. And somebody pernah DM I anonymously. You know those Ask FM things? They were like, what's the point of you studying, using scholarship money at a third-rate university, wasting your time traveling? These are things that only kids do. People with purpose like lock down, they lock in and they travel with, they don't waste their money on things like this, frivolous things. You macam tak ada tentu arah lah,
Faham.
They were like, they were like, macam,
Dia punya opinion lah.
dia punya opinion lah. It's
Yalah,
slightly
but who
hated-ish.
Like, tiba-tiba
Mungkin dia tengah kerja keras.
Tahu, but they were like, dia macam kau ni tak bertentu arah lah.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of you sharing all this, And I remember thinking, okay, fine, one valid criticism. But in my head at the time, I was like, listen, I'm sharing what I love. And if there was even one person who was inspired by this, who wanted to see the world, who wanted to learn more about the world, if this even mengembangkan somebody's thought, one person pun, I would have done my part.
Worth it.
Yeah, success isn't, I wasn't measuring my own success by my grades. I wasn't measuring my own success by the university punya elitist level. I wasn't measuring my success by whatever corporate career ladder that other people might have. Even at that time, I was like, I love what I do. I love sharing what I do. I love connecting with people based on what I do. And there is so much value in it because I was living my authentic self. I was in my lane, I was in my zone, and I was connecting with people and making friends and seeing the world. And if you don't see the value in it, if you don't see even the smallest bit of inspiration in it, that's on you. That just reflects back on your narrow-mindedness. Because if you think I didn't deserve the scholarship, you can take that up with Mara.
Yep.
I presented my case. I got it. I deserved it.
Technically, none of the person's business basically, right?
In a way, if they were to
That's
question...
a nicer way to say that. Business,
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with questioning things, but if you are questioning things from a sort of narrow-minded point of view, then that's on you. It's funny because like, it haunted me because a part of me was like, betul ke Cak, aku buat ni semua untuk apa doh? Like I get it, there's a small impact, like the impact's now. Like, but what's the point? But then obviously like years later after I graduated, I got the Canon EOS Master, I got Canon Youth Ambassador. And I remember thinking, yeah, this is why, what are you doing?
When you mentioned that kan, I teringat juga, recently I got this comment. Dia cakap, alah mamak ni podcast sendu.
No.
Yeah, dia cakap juga kan. And then I was thinking macam, sendu ke podcast aku ni kan? Yeah. So I pun ada benda macam terfikir kan. Dia cakap macam, yalah, macam I ni tak layak lah untuk nak cakap pasal benda-benda macam ni sebab I ni anak orang kaya kan. So but when you said that, it triggers me juga macam, you're right, sometimes yalah, mungkin dia is on him lah, dia yang tak boleh belajar daripada apa yang orang tengah share kan. But I'm sure out there ada je orang-orang yang can learn from whatever that we share and can actually change their life or have a positive impact to their life. Kalau ada seorang pun yang dapat that positive impact, I think it's worth it, right? Correct. To continue to do this, kan? So I think sometimes with comments tu, sometimes benda-benda orang puji banyak je, tapi kadang-kadang the negative one tu stuck in your mind, kan? Padahal how many years dah benda ni jadi, but it's stuck in your mind, kan? But I think you did the right thing to live the life yang you rasa filled with purpose. Because when you live a life full with purpose, then you live a full life. Kalau tak, you akan stress hari-hari, hidup rasa macam, yalah, what's the point? Betul juga, I stand to agree when you said, what's the point? Macam setengah orang, dia tengok dia punya kehidupan, nak kat corporate ladder, nak jadi CEO, nak jadi apa kan. But everybody has their own lane. Kan? And success is measured by your own self. Who's going to grade you on your success, right? You, kan? Correct. As long as you're happy, then I think you're doing the right thing, kan? So,
and it's the intention you put out in the world as well. I also noticed that the thing with social media is that your perception gets skewed with all these numbers. The more followers you have, the more following count, the more views and all that thing. Tapi macam if you just look at honest, intentional, ikhlas punya impact, like we said, if only 1% gets something good out of it, and you're putting out something good, it's not like you're putting out benda yang tak bermanfaat.
Yeah, but after that, I looked at the data and we did like 4.2 million impression or something. So I thought, okay lah, tak sendu sangat lah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm fine.
Yeah, and like there's that saying kan, macam, there's that saying that people say yang, it's always orang yang tengah tak buat apa-apa that will have the most comments.
Yeah.
The people who are above you and doing more things will like encourage you to like do more, right?
Correct.
So
And you're right. Banyak je orang yang kita jumpa, orang power, CEO, orang-orang yang hebat-hebat, dia macam, I like what you doing, man. Even KJ, man, came up to me and said, he like what we're doing, continue to do this, kan? So you're right, kan. Sometimes it's about listening to the right people. And I pun terfikir, Tata yang komen tu budak 15 tahun
You
atau
always
budak
use
12
that kan.
tahun.
Sekarang aku guna konsep kau tu juga. Bagus.
So kalau orang komen kan, I just imagine kat depan muka ni budak 12 tahun tengah komen, abang punya podcast sendu. Ni bodoh.
Okay. I have inside my daily mantra, right? I also include I love my life. I'm in control of my life because I'm in control of me. So focus on us, right? Whatever happens outside of me has no bearing of who I am. Alright. So
before that kan, before we move on to the next one kan, tadi you cakap you dapat scholarship apa semua kan. Tapi tadi kita termis sikit pasal sekolah menengah, sekolah rendah ni kan. I nak tahu macam sekolah menengah lu, what kind of student were you? Kan? You cakap macam budak pandai, punya score macam mana and stuff like that.
I think I was a bit more of...
Dia dah pegang lain dia.
I own it.
Switching.
I'm Asian. I own it. I think I was a bit more of the Hermione type.
Hermione
Granger. Dia macam
dalam Harry Potter.
Ya, dalam Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
Budak yang macam belajar baca buku.
Tapi hot macam tu lah.
Oh my god. But alhamdulillah, it was very balanced. I had my good core friends. Lepas tu I jenis yang macam masuk debate, masuk theater, masuk semua benda masuk lah. Masuk represent Malaysia, F1, masuk apa.
F1?
F1 in schools.
F1?
Yeah.
Really?
No. It's like you
Dia
build
ada
cars.
kecil.
It's an engineering
Yeah.
competition.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So masa my SPM pun, so we got back here masa I form 3, form 4 macam tu. Tak tahu, like I had no idea how to write MBM. Me and my best friend, kita orang nak skip physics class. We were like, okay, like Papa, let's skip physics class. And then we saw this iklan, this small poster dekat kantin sekolah, like siapa nak join F1 in school, sila datang bilik LK tengah hari pukul 2.30.
Bilik LK pun ingat.
I remember so much. We were like, jom lah try lah. Because that was the starting point of kita orang masuk competition Formula 1 in schools. And daripada Form 4 sampai Form 5, we sort of missed school. And we ended up doing so much more physics. Sebab siap pergi Germany, siap pergi
It
lab.
was a big thing.
It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Siap miss school semua. And we did so much more physics. We started out wanting to miss physics class. We ended up like going to all the physics class. And we missed so many classes. So by trial SPM, masa Form 5 tu, all my results were like tak hadir, D.
Wow.
Yeah, sebab tak pergi sekolah. Tapi excuse you were representing the school lah kan. Okay. And then like after May, June, July, I was like, oh my god, I gotta lock in. Like I gotta take this seriously. Yeah. So you know what I did? I ambil 2 at maths tuition classes and 3 BM classes. On top, tuition.
On top of your
2 at math extra class. Maksudnya 2 cikgu berbeza.
2 cikgu berbeza. Sebab nak ambil modul lain. So sekolah, tuition 1, tuition 2, tuition 3. For like 6 months stop, I locked in and just like tried to get the best grades I could within that last 3 months. So you just gotta do it, dude.
Yes. And then I think you got good grades because based on what you said just now, right?
So what was your grade like for SPM?
No, I was just like 9 E's or something.
Wow.
Now she's showing off.
That's what you call humble brag.
Wait, tak dah.
9 A's.
Tak dah. So macam my headmistress who knew me at the time, she datang kat Acacia, tak apa. Cikgu dah doakan 10A tapi tak apa. I was like, girl, what is this expectations? It's fine. I got 9 A's. I'm good. And then my mom put, it's okay. So like the expectations were there. So I was there. And I remember like it's haunted me. I was like, okay, I continue.
But I think 9 A's is an amazing achievement lah.
Tu lah, power juga.
Aku rasa aku 8 je kot. Tapi you tak ada lah.
I mean, I got 1 A minus. So
Tu kita tepuk. We don't encourage A minus. Asian, sorry.
Anyways, so fast forward back. So you were trained as an architect, right?
Yeah.
But I understand that you went to travel and did all this shoot. But what made you like really take that path, right? Initially, where you think like being a photographer and a content creator was like the lane you wanted to take, rather than after graduating from university, right? Doing the masters in architecture.
Yeah, so that was the interesting part because you don't see that. We're an Asian. We're from Malaysia. You don't
Yeah.
see that as a viable career option. Photographer, like you don't understand what that even means. Travel photographer is not something that happens in Malaysia normally. So, but I know for a fact that masa tu after I graduated, I remember calling my mom and I was like, Ma, I've done my responsibilities to your request. I've completed architecture sampai masters. I want to do my own thing now. And she was like, okay.
Dah dapat restu.
Dah dapat restu. And after that, I was like, all right, let's do this. So I started traveling even more just before I graduated and I came back. And I don't know if it was divine intervention or something, but I think a week after I got back from graduating, pindah balik KL kan, my friend sent me a poster. She was like, hey, you should try this. And the poster was, apply to be a Canon EOS Youth Ambassador. Submit your video now. And I think that was like within 3 days left. Dia hantar, I think you should try this.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, alah, you know, this is high level. Like, I won't ever get this lah. I'm not even photography trained, whatever. You know, you have all those doubts about yourself whenever you see something cool. You know, you're like, I don't qualify for this, apa lah. But I thought, you know, let's give it a go. Guna phone, record, letak atas meja, lepas tu, hi, you know, you sort of introduce yourself. This is what I do, it's my photography, blah, blah, blah. Submit. Didn't think about it. A month later, the list keluar. And my name was there. I was like, oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it has anything to do with your beauty?
No lah, because you have to show your photography. You have to demonstrate your passion and why you wanted
Still
to join.
needs merit kan.
Yeah, it needs merit. Because I think people from all over Malaysia applied. This was, I think, 2016, 2017. I think 2018, 2017. People from all over Malaysia applied. It was a nationwide thing. And only 26 people got chosen.
Wow.
People from Sabah, people from Perlis, like all over Malaysia lah. So we came in, we trained for like 8 months with Canon. Yeah.
Train?
We had a training. So every weekend, we would datang Canon office and there would be workshops on how to use cameras, there would be assignments. They would grade us, they would look at us, there would be speaking presentations, how to take portrait photography, how to take studio photography, how to take street photography sort of thing. And you know, you one by one, you pergi. And at the end of 8 months, they were like, we're going to select 6 of you. And alhamdulillah, I ended up being one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, so all
Nationwide, down to 26, and then
Yeah.
after 26, only 6 of you guys.
Yes.
Right?
Do you think at that point the beauty had anything to do with it? Still
the
no.
beauty of my photography.
Oh,
But I think when they choose pun, they look not just in terms of photography, but in terms of your passion, whether they can grow you into becoming somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe from what you've told us, your storyline pun, memang you've always been passionate about photography, you know? And I think like you said, divine intervention as well.
Yeah.
Kan? I also believe yang what
Allah
you did,
susun.
Allah susun. And you
Yeah.
followed your mom punya restu tu to actually deliver architecture. I'm sure that also played a role into this pathway yang very bright that tak sempat your mom pun nak cakap, I told you to go into architecture or any of such. I wanted to ask, like in terms of bila you buat that architecture punya ni, has it contribute towards your style of photography and whatnot from your whole degree and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think wherever your background is, it always translates into the creative outputs that you do. Like even when you guys make podcasts, you bring in your background of experiences and life and
Daripada driving
everything.
pun.
Yeah. You know?
Sorry, from diving.
Oh yeah, diving. Okay.
Keep calm.
Yeah, you take all these soft skills and input, and especially with architecture, it's very visual. You learn how to compose, you learn frame, you learn quality of light, cantik macam mana. So it has definitely informed how I do photography. And because I had architecture, it gave me a bit of an edge as well. And now like I photograph for Kuala Lumpur Architecture Festival, I write for KL Architecture Malaysia magazine. So architecture is still very much a part of my life.
Part of your photography punya industry
Yes.
way as well.
I think that's amazing because I think when I see your your photos kan, I also nampak the architecture stuff also. Kan you pandai macam ambil, you know, like
Angle lah.
angle and also gambar-gambar yang style lah.
Yeah.
Kan? So actually no, I think you take beautiful photos.
Alhamdulillah, thank
I
you.
was just kidding. Cuma you tak hantar je gambar-gambar tu kat I. Itu lah masalah.
Gambar
dia.
Ashraf je. So definitely subject.
Yelah semua okay je. I tengok diorang post kan.
Yeah. Alright, Acacia, we're gonna take a short break.
Yep.
And after this, I think kita nak cakap benda-benda yang lebih berat. I think we've gotten to know you, your background, but we also want to know about the case that break through, like you went super viral, and I think we're going to talk about that after the break. Alright?
Alright, stay tuned guys. See you guys after the break.
Alright. Alright, welcome back to Apa Cerita bersama dengan Acacia Diana aka Akak London. Jadi dia Akak London sekarang.
All love.
All love. Alright. Ataupun Wak punya jodoh.
Alright. Before we continue, kita nak sarankan lagi again to all the viewers out there to do subscribe to Apa Cerita.
Yes, betul. Only 20% of our viewers subscribe and only 5% yang turn on the notification.
Correct.
Please do turn on the notification bell and also subscribe to us.
Correct.
Alright, so kita pun baru je launch kita punya membership.
Yep.
So if you guys like what we do, if you guys want to support us, you guys boleh jadi kita punya member. I think ada boleh contribute like $50 or something like that.
Yep.
Untuk kita punya cost, so that kita boleh continue to do what we love. Kita boleh continue to spread knowledge.
Buat lagi power lagi.
Ya, boleh buat lagi power, and we can have can have this Apa Cerita continue to grow, insyaAllah.
Correct. InsyaAllah.
So please be part of our members.
Yes. Alright. Let's go back to the story. So Acacia, you've bekerja dengan jenama besar, like I mentioned during the opening tu kan, dengan brand seperti BMW, Canon dan banyak lagi. Kalau pergi website you tengok macam-macam brand logo kan, you know. So bagaimana Acacia menyesuaikan kreativiti peribadi dengan keperluan komersial, like with your creative, from what you've shared with us right when you started, how do you use it untuk nak menyesuaikan dengan all these big brands, and how do you manage to get all these jobs? Were you freelancing at the time, or how would you care to share?
I think it all starts with you as a creative. So when you are a creator, you create work that resonates with you. There's always a bit of soul in any artist, in any work that you produce. And the more you do it, and the more you build that portfolio, the more people connect with it, the more people notice it. So for me, I started photographing and traveling, and before I realized it, at that young age while I was studying, I was already building my portfolio. It wasn't a conscious thing. It was almost like it was already a calling. It was a passion project. But it was a portfolio that was well put together, and it was published already on Instagram. And sometimes if I went to a place, maybe that tourism place would see that photo and share it, because it's like UGC, right? User-generated content. And
user-generated content.
Yes, UGC. They will share like, oh, this is nice. Can we have permission to share? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. And the more people took notice of it, the more I was aware of, okay, I need to give out more quality content. And it drove me, and I started, like traveling like almost every month and building that portfolio. And alhamdulillah, brands started noticing it. They recognized that, okay, this is a girl and this is her style of work. And it is the quality that is enough for our brands. So maybe
resonates to their
Yeah,
brand too,
it resonated with their brands too. And I was always putting out really positive content. It was very like beautiful places. It was very like inspirational, aspirational activities that you wanted to do, and things that people would want to dream of doing. And I was, curating that and photographing that and researching that. And brands were like, hey, can you help us create something with the same essence, the same vibe? And as a creative, you have to like, okay, all right, this is how I can do this. And that was how I got to work with like Turkish tourism, Tourism Malaysia, Malaysia Airlines, because they recognize that value in it. So it all literally starts with you as an artist and the sort of art that you want. And honestly, it doesn't come overnight. You don't get into the scene knowing what you want with it ready. I built it over years. I built it bit by bit, post by post, with my own money over like so many years to get to this point.
To give some perspective to the viewers kan, from the point where you were training with the Canon EOS program pada waktu you baru graduate, and until you actually land these big jobs with big brands, how long did it take, if you don't mind sharing?
I started posting masa I think masa I started masters lah, masa I first travelled to London, baru I start betul-betul active because it was easy to travel. So that was 2015. I got the Canon thing in 2017, 2018.
Right? Yeah.
So that was like 2-3 years of me already doing it. And then Canon gave me that legitimacy. It gave me that recognition. And then brands started noticing it. So it was over a period of like 5-6 years to get to this point. And even now, I'm still growing. I'm still building that portfolio because it doesn't stop, you know? And that's what people need to realize, that obviously you only see the highlights, the achievements. Oh, you got it because this. But a lot of work goes behind it. You have to build your portfolio. You have to build your website. You have to build your network. You have to build your email templates. You have to build your rates.
Personal brand
And admin. And, you know, how else can people reach you? What are the platforms? Marketing. It wasn't something that was just super organic that landed on my lap.
It was something that you built.
Yep.
And also it's by design, I would say, right?
Yes, it was by intentional design. This is the sort of jobs that I wanted. These are the sort of clients that I wanted to work with. Because even back then I recognized, okay, there are some things that I don't really want to do. You know, because after I balik, there were people who saw me as an influencer. They were like, hey, come, we can manage you. You can do this. You can do music. Maybe you can sing. You know, they wanted me to try different things.
Lagu raya.
You know, they wanted me to try different. Maybe you can be an actress. You know, maybe you can do all this. Jadi marketing
Buka boleh
influencer.
jual ni kan.
And I remember exactly. And I remember thinking, actually, I am passionate about photography, and that's what I want to pursue. So I was very adamant on that. My pendirian diri was quite kuat.
Yep.
And I think maybe as well that stemmed from my education in architecture. Like, it taught you to be very self-aware, very know who you are. Who are you as a designer? Who are you as an artist? Because if you burn out, any opportunity you will ambil. Kan? You normally be like, okay lah, like this, I want to try this, I want to try this, I want to try this. Exactly. And sometimes...
But you stayed true to your lane.
Yeah, sometimes taking everything can make you a bit more cheaper, if that makes sense. Orang lagi confused as to what exactly do you do. So as a creative person, you have to be very macam, this is what I want to do. But at the same time, you cannot macam take it as a limiting thing. Like, aku buat ni je tu. Like, this is all I am. I'm like a photographer. In some circles, in some contexts, I'm considered as a visual artist because I don't just do photography. Because sometimes
I see you as a visual artist.
Yeah, because sometimes I incorporate maybe videos in it, maybe my voiceovers, maybe my personal paintings, maybe my personal writing in it. So you have to balance who you are as a person and the sort of projects and the sort of clients that you want to attract.
Okay, amazing.
Your identity, I would say.
Yeah, it's not something that's taught. That's the weird thing. You have to figure it out yourself. You have to sit with yourself and really know who you are.
Betul.
Yeah.
So orang kata ilham lah orang kata.
Yeah.
Kan? I mean, it's God given punya ilham, and of course by experience also.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out from my question too is that bukannya brands you menyesuaikan diri you kepada brands, tapi brands menyesuaikan diri because they see what
align
you
lah. Mungkin the values align.
Yes.
Correct.
I mean, obviously it's a collaboration process. There's tolak ansur, you discuss and everything. But you have to come in with something of value first lah. And that value can only come from you. And I know you said it's like ilham and God-given talent. But at the same time, it requires a lot of critical thinking for yourself. You cannot just ikut sesuka hati emotional artistic side. You have to really think rationally, technically, properly, accountability, responsibility, and show up as a professional as well. Because professionalism is something that is so important in the creative world. Because orang kita biasanya macam ikut hati diri, and then when they go out, when they become big, they have their own ego and they think they own all this. But it isn't like that. You know, if you want to stay long in the industry, in any industry, you have to have a sense of professionalism and accountability and ethics.
Faham?
And a good personality, like good character lah, to be able to work for that long.
Yeah, understand. That's amazing. Alright, Acacia. Of course, a lot of your work dipamerkan di pameran-pameran di London, di Amsterdam, and you know, in places yang macam, you know, worldwide lah, orang kata kan, Mrs. Worldwide. Kan? So how do you feel looking at all your artwork, apa yang you buat dipamerkan di tempat-tempat yang macam ni?
It's, alhamdulillah, I think sometimes in my life I wake up and I think I'm living my dream.
Wow.
It's a choice that I have made over and over again for like 10-15 years, that I wake up and decide like, this is what I want to do. Like, I macam tak pandang kiri kanan. I wasn't measuring myself, like we said earlier, by other people's structures of success. Like, alhamdulillah, I have friends now who are climbing the corporate ladder. They're like doing like VPs of Khazanah. They're like in CMB Bank. Some people are like really famous celebrity artists, you know, sort of thing. I have friends on both sides, all sides of the spectrum. But I wake up and I think, this is what I love doing. This is like my own measure of success. And if you wake up happy doing what you do, it's fantastic. But like I said, it wasn't an overnight thing. It required a lot of hard work, coordinating with people, emailing things, applying for things, putting in the work behind the scenes to get there.
Yeah, amazing. Alright, so macam, of course, you have done a lot. Banyak benda-benda yang I think best lah yang you dah buat dalam
Boleh lah.
kan, dalam
Biasa.
I mean, you have done so many things. Tapi apa momen yang paling berharga untuk you as a photographer?
Oh
And
my
a visual artist.
God. Apa momen paling berharga?
Like your pinnacle of,
Damn.
highest.
Or just
level.
can be something that touches you
Yeah,
or
betul.
something.
I know. I think whenever you travel and see a different place, it's always much, wow, it's nice. But honestly I mean, we all have dreams. Sometimes dalam diam-diam kita macam, okay, actually I want this, sort of thing. And sebenarnya one of my ultimate dreams, even when I first started, even when I first started was I want to work with Malaysia Airlines.
Oh, no wonder. No.
No, but I was like,
Nobody dream about working for
yeah, maybe I should. Yeah.
Sorry Dato' Dek, sorry. Dia marah, dia suruh tak bagi pakai studio masalah kan.
Sorry.
Let's not go down that road, but okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's see. What was one of my... I think when I did my solo exhibition in London.
But was
There
that
must be something that touched you.
Was Malaysia Airlines was also one of your... It's okay, you can share.
Yeah, it was a dream. On top of things, I think I went to Umrah. I think after COVID, COVID you're locked down. So as a travel photographer, I was like, damn, I was like, what can I do? There's
Your
nothing.
wings got cut.
Exactly. We were stuck at home, trying to find a way out. And because I was working in hospitality at the time, and hotels were gone.
Oh, you're working in a hotel?
No, I was working I was like a director at it's a hospitality group.
Oh,
yeah. So I was doing works, a lot of
in
works
the
on the
UK?
side. No, kat Malaysia. I was still in Malaysia. Masa COVID, I was in Malaysia. And I was like, oh my God, let's find a way out. Let's and that was when I decided to move to London during COVID. I always knew I was going to end up there.
Because kat sana free kan?
It was
right?
that, but I think I wanted to spread my wings a bit more creatively. Because kat sini, I was already Canon EOS master. I was, alhamdulillah, I could pick and choose the projects that I wanted.
Yep.
Alhamdulillah.
EOS master tu maksudnya Canon punya master photographer. Just to emphasize that point. Sorry, go on. Yeah, so you can choose everything here.
And I thought, what, let's try something new, something different. And
New
London,
adventure.
Yeah. And London was, I mean, I grew up there. I studied there, and it was metropolitan city. And then I saved up money. I booked the first ticket out that I could. Boom, bang, boom, bang, boom, bang. A series of decisions and working behind the scenes and emailing everything led to my first solo exhibition in London. And it's a solo exhibition. It's just you.
Yeah.
So in October 2021, right after COVID, I got to do my first solo exhibition in London.
Wow. Okay, go on.
And it was so seeing my work against the backdrop of because I did it at Old Royal Naval College, which is a UNESCO heritage building. You can see Canary Wharf across the river, and my friends were coming in. The High Commissioner of Malaysia was coming in to visit, and seeing all these people coming together to celebrate my work right after COVID was such a rewarding experience. To be recognized in that way, because it was a whole hall just full of my work, blown up huge. And alhamdulillah, I think all of it got sold off, the photographs. And some of the photographs were from Malaysia as well, because it was an architectural photography exhibition. And some of it's now hanging at the Malaysian High Commission, some of it's now hanging at PDR MP offices. And a lot of clients got it. And there was this one point where I was delivering the photographs. And masa tu some clients were calling me as well, and I had orang from Istana Negara was hey, can you help take us photographs as well? And I remember sitting in the van. It was a private chauffeur van, that a client sent for me to deliver the photograph. I was I'm in a van in London, delivering my photograph, and Istana Negara is on the phone with me trying to get me on a job. And I was this is a dream come true. Do you know how many people I couldn't even believe it, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So
Mashallah.
yeah, so that was 4 years ago. You can only grow from this.
Kan? And I think
Thank you so much, for
and today
sharing.
you're in Apa Cerita.
Yeah, oh my god. I get to meet Ashraf Khalid, Ashraf Kawaruddin. Oh my god.
But you know, I saw a trend in your life. Dia selalu macam start with like macam susah, lepas tu pap dia naik. Kan? Lepas tu ada susah balik. Kan? Awal-awal macam mak dia jadi cleaner. Lepas tu balik Malaysia tiba-tiba jadi ni. Kan? So I think a lot of that juga. So okay, you kahwin lambat tapi you dapat lelaki yang anak
Macam
billionaire gitu kan.
Lain macam.
Tak, your mission lain tau. Macam ni, it's a different agenda.
I got agendas. Because you know, they say kalau bina masjid tu macam tu.
Macam bina masjid.
I think from your comment, right, I think most of it was in the hardest times or in times when you're struggling, you just have to find a way to get through it. I mean, that mindset has haunted me, obviously, across so many other difficult parts of my life. But you have to keep an attitude of grace and gratefulness and tawakkal that it will turn out the way that it's supposed to turn out for you. You know, I think that is one of the hardest and somehow easiest things that you can do to just berserah and get through it.
Betul. We can't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Being in business as well, right?
Yeah,
It's
I can imagine.
the things that you have to go through sometimes.
The
right?
sacrifices you have to make.
When you look back and you think,
Dah
I
macam-
went through that.
Yeah. Dah kena sepak 3 jam macam ni.
We went. Yeah, but
But yeah, I guess that also builds character kan.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think I want to move to the elephant in the room. Of course, a few years ago kita semua dikejutkan dengan berita di mana you di-stalk oleh this one guy, and of course alhamdulillah eventually he is, you know, justice is served. But can you bring us back to that journey and how you fought against that and what actually happened? Tell us the story if you don't mind.
It's been like, I think 2 years now since it went viral, and I have not talked about it in so long. So much, and coming into this, actually, I was like slightly shaking because revisiting these emotions is really heavy. But basically what happened was, so earlier on, kita orang cerita pasal, I was sharing my work on Instagram and people were following me, people were connecting with me, and there were people who question it, and you think that's the only two sides to it, like people who love you and people who doubt you. But my experience taught me that there's another group of people who are completely wild cards, who you do not know what their intentions are, and they are crazy. Like, you cannot pin them down. Like, I didn't even see them coming. So when I first started like sharing my work on my blog and everything, I started noticing this comment from this one account, or like commenting on my blog posts, commenting on my Instagram. It was the same name. It was like Sopert99 or something. And dia macam initially it was like, good for you traveling, blah, 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 positive stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean,
You replied to some of them?
no,
at the first?
I macam, I
Memang
tak
tak pernah.
tak pernah. I just take it initially. I was like, okay, this is another person who is connecting with it, it's fine. Tapi macam there was this one period of time where dia macam comment banyak-banyak tau on my blog, and I was like, bit weird, but okay, tak apalah, you know, like I'm busy doing my own thing, I'm thriving. I ignore. And then one day, an email with the same username sent an email, came to my inbox. They're like, hey, Assalamualaikum Acacia. I would like to invite you to collaborate on this life-changing project, blah, 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 something. They didn't explain what the project was. Tak ada apa-apa. Signed a Sopert something. So I recognized the name. I was like, oh, this is still a bit weird. But I took the time out politely to reply, Salam, I'm not interested. Please don't contact me again. Because I was like, this is a bit weird. Tak apalah. That was the only time I replied. And then I think a day later, a different email with the same name, tapi different, like Gmail or Hotmail or something, message, hello my love. Blah, 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 blah. Something, it was like, we will work together for the future. Something. I tak ingat the exact words. And I remember thinking, this is a bit weird because it was the same email, and belum apa-apa awal-awal, this was 2014, 2016 or something, I can't remember. Dia dah start guna macam my love, like love you or something. And I was thinking, okay.
2016
I think so. I can't remember. I was like, this is a bit weird. I ignore. I block, I ignore. I shanda. Okay, Papala, I don't want to, I don't want any part of this. And honestly, that was the only time I replied. I must I did not know who he was. I didn't know if it was even a he. Like if apa background siapa dia, apa I tak check pun. I was like, this is a bit weird. I tak nak lah, this. I'm busy with doing my own thing. And then I noticed like dia macam start. It continued commenting like commenting and stuff. I ignored it. But then one day I was with my friend hanging out dekat McDonald's kat Damansara, and at the time locations on Instagram was very new and macam excited lah, and this was way back when you were very aware of like cyber safety and all that kan. It didn't cross your mind, so we took a selfie, we're like, oh, we're here, it was so nice to catch up. This was way back when everything was still, you thought you were fine. And like within 20 minutes or so, this guy comes and he was like, hi. And we're like, hi. We're like, Acacia. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I like your work. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Did he sound like that?
His voice was very deep and it was very monotonous.
Oh.
It wasn't like a genuine interaction. Dia macam awkward sikit. Because you would notice cara orang like approach you dengan, like macam like casually, oh, I like your work, as opposed to, I like your work. I remember like my friend macam, this is a bit weird. And I was like, okay, yeah, thanks,
The air, you can feel like the air.
Yeah, you can feel the air. Like he didn't come with genuine macam nak to connect. It was a very weird closed off vibe. Like you can read people's vibes. So I macam, okay, peliknya. My friend macam, oh, you better be careful, pelik kan. So blah, 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 blah. And then tiba-tiba, I think something clocked in me that it was the same guy. I don't know if it was like dia ada DM after that, it was nice to meet you, McDonald's or something. Something I connected. This is the guy that's been emailing me. That's creepy, that's a bit weird, And even as early on as that, I posted out a tweet. I said, does anybody know who this is? That tweet got shared a bit. This was, again, way back in 2016, 2017. I already dah angkat, like, hello, does anybody like help? Does anybody know this? And then his sister DM'd me on Instagram. She's like, hey, may I know, is this the person you're talking about? So I'm like, yes. Like, who are you? How do you know this person? She's like, oh, I'm the sister. And then she said, oh, kita ingatkan you guys were friends or you guys were together because he talks about you. And I was like, wait a minute. No. She's like, I rasa dia suka you. And then she was like, tak apalah, I rasa dia minat je kot kat you. You doakan lah. And initially I was like, this seems like a fair request. Sebab masa tu dia baru komen je tau. I was like, okay, maybe I'll calm down. Like I won't be too scared or not react so much. I learned obviously later on now, where I am now, like 8 years later, that was the point where I should have fought for more. Like I should have just stopped it right at the beginning, because that was the beginning point. Is just when I was feeling uncomfortable, I should have just stopped it. So over the years, he started commenting and I'm okay, like I block, I don't need this anymore. And he would create more accounts. So after 5-6 years, he had created like 36 different accounts. And even more that I don't know, like, and he would always like guna nama or nombor sama to make sure that I knew that it was him. He wanted me to know that it was him. He wanted to play mind games with me in that way. And he would start DMing me like, oh my cinta, oh my sayang, oh I want to meet Allah with you, oh you are my soul, this divine love. On his Twitter accounts, he would start reposting ayat-ayat Al-Quran. He would start like, demi Allah, I sumpah, I sayang you, Acacia, I want to marry you, blah, 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 blah. Non-stop sometimes. And honestly, like a couple of years later when I graduated, I came back and I recognized it as a red flag, obviously. So I made my first police report. Masa tu tak law, tak ada apa. Like there was nothing that could be done, but it was advised, please at least make a police report as a covering report in case dia pecah masuk rumah. Because a couple of months before I graduated and balik Malaysia, he found my house. He met my father. And my father pun macam, dia Assalamualaikum, my father pun keluar lah kan, like, what's this? And he said, oh, I think he said like, he's kawan Acacia, nak kenal dengan Acacia. My dad was like, oh, okay, she's not here, but maybe when she comes back, you can get to know, apa-apa lah kan. And I remember my dad calling me like, hey, there's this guy who comes, nama dia Shafiq, and I was like, Daddy, like, don't lie on this guy. And because at that time, I was studying overseas, I was living my life. It didn't seem like a priority for me to address. At that time, I was like,
just macam lalat je lah.
Yeah, macam lalat. And you didn't think that it was a serious thing because you are not aware that it was a serious thing. You're not aware that is something that you should not put up with. You know, it was harassment. I wasn't aware of that. I did not know. Masa tu istilah harassment, apa benda? Macam just sakit tak lah, lain lah. Ramai orang ada masalah betul-betul lah, you know. People, sometimes the authorities were like, alah, dia minat you je. You know, alah, lain je lah, kasih chance lah, you know, that sort of thing. And so I didn't feel the need to tell my parents about it, which was also mistake number 2. I didn't really spread the word to my close family members to protect me and my house and everything. It was only years later, like when police asked him, macam mana kau jumpa rumah dia? Macam mana kau cari rumah dia? So he said he followed all of my stories, lepas tu dia kira transformer rumah. Dia kira Transformers rumah dekat Google Maps.
What's Transformers rumah?
Transformers yang tiang elektrik tu.
Oh my god.
Dia kira. Lepas tu dia tengok mana kena dengan pokok-pokok kat tu. That's how he found my house. Because initially I thought, does he know my car? And did he follow me from somewhere? Dia nampak I, so he follow my car. Tapi tak. He doesn't know my car at that time. So dia punya level gila dah.
Next level punya stalking lah.
Dia punya level gila dah start time tu tau. So like I dah balik Malaysia, I dah start kerja, and he was still stalking me, and it was like I macam dah start rimas. And over a period of a couple of years, sometimes like it will become in phases. Tiba-tiba dia macam naik route or something. I don't know what's going on with him. Tiba-tiba banyak gila comment. I will wake up and there'll be like so many comments. I love you. I don't want to live without you. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, be my. I don't know. Can't wait to be your. Comments, DMs. I can't wait to be your wife. I block je. The next day dia kan tahu bila I block. So dia kena buat baru. Sampai at one point I tak block dah. I restrict je. You know. So I don't see it. And he will want to find any way to reach me. Bila I buat exhibition kat KL, he will find me. Dia pernah datang my exhibitions in KL. And kalau I buat talks, workshops with Canon, I myself had to put up a statement to all organisers. If this man registers, please block him. If this man wants to come, please block him. It was so difficult because you were working on a public figure punya basis. And you had to watch your back for somebody who might come and hurt you because you did not know what he was capable of. And obviously at that time, maybe he was just an admirer. Maybe in my head, dia macam nak get close to me je kot. It was a bit creepy, but the authorities were like, alah, dia tak hurt you pun, dia tak pukul ikan, dia tak pecah rumah, there's no element of crime. So in a way, it was a bit gaslighty. You thought macam, yalah, okay lah, you know, I can put up with this, I guess, you know, whatever. So it went on for years like that until I moved to the UK. And when I moved to the UK, I was like, you know, in a way, I'm free. I can do my public engagements. I can exhibit. I can bang.
But before that, I nak tahu kan, you pindah tu ada tak sebab because of him juga ke memang tak ada langsung?
I think partially he contributed to it. He wasn't, at that time, he wasn't the sole reason as to why
not
I was.
Not the main reason.
Yeah, not the main reason. But he contributed. It was only bila I dah sampai UK and I started to do my solo exhibition, my exhibition semua, that I felt a bit more free. Macam, I dah
best pula rasa.
Macam I dah lama tak rasa macam ni. Like, when you are in survival mode, you don't realise it. You know, you macam tak perasan macam sebenarnya ada pressure tu kat your bahu, like somebody's watching your back. Yeah. You know that somebody wants you down, or you know that somebody wants to like hurt you in some way, that you're not comfortable. So baru macam, oh yeah, like I'm a bit more at ease here. Like I can take my time. I don't have to watch my back so much. And then in December 2022, tiba-tiba I got a call from my friend, Wisha. I'm like, yes. And masa tu London baru snow. It was Christmas. I was in my red jacket. I was photographing Hyde Park. Like snow. It was so beautiful. I got a call from my friend, Wisha.
Who?
She was a mutual friend of his. I think diorang duduk area sama dulu. So at that point, a lot of my closest friends know the case already. My family knew the case about this.
Dah viral dah kat social media?
Tak, belum. Masa tu, I baru bagi tahu my friends, my close friends. I dah start macam, actually there's this weird guy, he's still DMing me dah beberapa tahun dah. I macam, over the years, I would like have some nights bila I tak boleh tidur sebab I nangis. I macam nangis macam, oh my god, rimasnya. Like, you're so geram. You know? You're so geram. Like, why do I have to put up with this? I messaged his dad. I tried all my best efforts to find who this guy was. I messaged my dad. I tried to find out where he worked. I tried to find out his background. Like, anything. The only thing I wanted was, please stop. Tu je I minta. Just please stop. Like, I don't want this. I already said no. Sometimes I'm pun macam lemah and I would reply. I said, please F off. I dah cakap, I'm not interested in you. I'm going to get married. I said cakap macam tu. Like, I'm going to get married. Please leave me alone. No. Like, he would continue. There was nothing at that point that I could do. So when I moved to the UK, dia message komen-komen pun, I'm macam, okay, he's far away. You know what? Let me just like get on with it. Dah macam, you dah rimas, you dah penat, you dah macam, let me just get on with it. And then my friend called, she was like, I just got the news. I'm like, what do you mean? What news? Your stalker is in London. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, he called my husband because he was like, he kenal her husband. He called my husband. He said he's in London, but he hung up. And then I was like, I knew that the only reason he would tell my friend's husband is to make sure that I know. Because he wanted me to know that he was in London. And I checked Twitter, tengok dia dah post London, tengah snow. And I remember hati I macam jatuh. I was like, I am not free. Like, this... I macam tergamam je. I macam... And I don't know how long he's been in London. I've been walking around this past 2 days, like, my red jacket, jalan-jalan dekat gambar, in a public space. He could have seen me at any point. I immediately balik rumah and I terus go into macam...
Panic mode?
Not panic. Alhamdulillah, I was like survival mode. What do I have to
Back
do?
to when you were in Malaysia.
But worse because
tak ada family.
Tak ada family, tak ada apa. Like, anything can happen. And in my head, I was like, if this guy has enough agency to travel across the world to find me, what is his intention? What does he want? Like, tak senang kot nak datang UK. It's not something that orang biasa-biasa buat with no reason. With no reason. So I macam, okay, what can I prepare? What do I need to do? Okay, I tell all my friends, okay, tutup langsir semua, beli face mask, pakai baju hitam. Kalau nak keluar pun, I tell all my friends. That was the starting point. And then it was weird because that week I had one of my photographs was being exhibited kat Malaysian Hall. It was for fundraising. Malam tu I hantar pakai mask, pakai hoodie, and all my friends were, hey, are you okay there? What's going on? I told them.
Are you on drugs or something? I'm still okay.
Dia pelik lah, because normally you're like, hey, sort of thing. Dia pelik lah, but I said, listen, I have a stalker, and he's in the UK, so I'm taking precautions. It was so weird telling friends, acquaintances about this, because orang macam tak faham tau. Dia were like,
Are you crazy?
macam, are you okay? Oh, stalker? Macam, dia buat apa je? Siapa dia ni? Like, people want to know more things. Macam, tak faham lah. Can you explain the situation? And you don't have the mental capacity to explain the situation. You dah macam almost panic mode, almost survival mode. I was like, it's okay, I've got to go, but here's my photograph, like politely, here's my photograph. Inshallah. She's like, oh, are you coming tomorrow? Tomorrow's the event, because I just dropped it off kan. I'm like, inshallah, we'll see. I don't think I should. Oh, they don't understand the gravity of the situation because they're not familiar with it. And I said, okay, bye. Inshallah, see you next time. Ciao. So
you didn't go?
So the next day, I macam, because the event was being publicized, like, okay, and I was sharing it on my social media as well. I was like, hey, my photographs are being exhibited. It was before I knew he was around. The next day, I saw that he posted. He was at the event. Malaysian Hall. Dia siap hantar gambar, dia siap post gambar I, like, beautiful photograph. And that's when I knew, okay, he definitely is watching me and looking for me. And for 2-3 months, December, January, February, March, I macam duduk rumah.
Was he there all the while?
He was there all the while. I don't know what he was doing there. Dia cakap kat my friend punya husband, dia duduk rumah hostel, dia tak ada duit makanan, dia macam... lepas tu my friend pun macam marah lah. Kau sebenarnya nak cerita Acacia. Aku tahu kau honest sekarang, kau sebenarnya datang ni buat apa? Dia macam tak tahu aku nak cari kerja and stuff like that. He was making up excuses to my friends. He was tak aku nak cari kerja. He says that to my friends, like rationally, like logically, but at the same time he was going through places that I went to. So before this I pernah pergi photography class. So dia pergi photography class tu, and then they leave a note for me. And I, at that point, I dah bagi tahu everybody in London that I knew, this is a person who is pursuing me. Please be aware of him. Please contact me if anything. I made that contingency. So dia left a note saying, Acacia, please contact me. Here's my number. So my previous tutor was like, hey, this guy came. I saw your post. I saw your email. I'm just warning you, please don't come to our facility for the next couple of months. Because he's, for the foreseeable future, because he's here and he's left this for you. And I was like, wow, he's not even hiding it. He's saying different things to his friends. He's saying different things to his families. But I text kakak dia juga. I was like, what is going on? Why is he here? Kau gila ke? Because she's like, oh, dia pergi sana nak cari rezeki. It was like a family who was enabling it. They didn't see the full extent of the situation.
Maybe he also manipulate
Yeah,
them.
I think maybe he was manipulating them as well. But in my head, I was like, oh my God, this guy can find me anywhere. He wants to find me. He wants like, get me something. Get me. And then like, my friends suruh I buat police report. Just do a cover report. Because laws in the UK are a bit more sophisticated. There are things that can be done. I punya macam, I was hiding. I was scared to go out. I was dah tak tahu nak buat apa dengan hidup I. Dia like, buat je report. Buat je, it's okay. I can teman you. So Alhamdulillah, my friends came with me to the police station. Buat report. And police were like, okay, if he comes anywhere near you, call us. Because we know he's looking for you. We don't have the resources to go on a citywide search for him right now, but we'll try to find him. We'll see where his addresses are and everything, like registered again. I'm like, okay, so I made a contingency plan. So for 3 months, like I said, I macam keluar pakai hoodie, tak keluar rumah pun. Kalau keluar pun macam, tutup muka. I siap macam jalan macam lelaki tengah malam. Because I did not want to be recognised. Because my flatmates, at the time, diorang kerja. Masa tu, I was still freelancing. I couldn't even freelance. I couldn't advertise my work. I couldn't do anything. I was just stuck at home in my own head, scared. Sebab I takut kalau I keluar, what if he sees me and he follows me home and nobody's home and anything can happen.
You memang duduk sorang-sorang lah?
I duduk dengan my flatmates tapi diorang kerja. So kalau I keluar nak beli groceries pun, like I cannot. I was stuck at home.
Basically no freedom, right?
Basically no freedom.
You have to always watch your back and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and you always have to be, it's better to be safe than sorry. Because I did not want to take that risk.
So but at which point where you actually decided, okay, this is the time where I need to take action, and I'm quite like I said in the beginning of the podcast, where you actually pushed until a bill was approved, right? So at which point did you actually, from all this story, right? I understand it must be very devastating, and living in this kind of environment, but there must be a point where you
okay, this is it.
Yeah, and then especially for you to fight for your rights, because I also, when we're like hanging out with our girlfriends and stuff like that, bila balik kita selalu cakap tengok dulu cermin sebelum sampai rumah, and even if I drop off some kawan perempuan, I will wait until they masuk rumah kunci, then we only leave, right? So we do understand, because the outside world anything could happen. Even my sister pun pernah kena rompak, tarik, it's very very dangerous out there. But at which point where you said, this is never going to happen again, and especially to other people out there, and until the bill was actually approved and is now in action?
So I got the news that Malaysia was working on an anti-stalking and harassment bill in 2022. So obviously you were trying to look for ways that could help you, and my lawyer friends were like, hey, listen, there's a bill that can help you. It's going to take a while to be passed, but the intention is there. So I was like, okay. So I was vaguely aware of that. And then masa kat UK, he was in UK. And then at one point, after I macam dah penat duduk rumah, like I cannot do this anymore, I started volunteering for a charity. And it was a charity that had public events all over London. And they were posting about my work as well. And I was like, I need to get back into photography. I don't care. I will take the risk. And at one point, he found me at one of the events. And when he found me, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to, I just called the police, and police datang within 5 minutes. They handcuffed him. They took him to the police station.
The police came so fast.
The UK police caught him because they have boroughs. Yeah, it was very near to one of their borough punya HQ. They caught him. They took his statements and everything. And I was like, okay, at least the UK police are doing something. It was the first time in a while that I was like, okay, I'm being seen. Like something, authority is helping out with this. But then the next day, they were like, we have to release him on bail per investigation. This is the standard procedure. We have to release him. Just so you're aware. But if he comes anywhere near you, you can call us, and he's been warned. If he does anything to you, he'll be immediately go. And masa ada takut dah, so okay, fine. But then obviously bila he got released,
macam and takut ada retaliate lagi teruk kan?
Takut juga. Tapi masa tu he had his passport, and within 2 days or within the week dia balik Malaysia. Dia terus lari. So there was an investigation on him. Crown Prosecution Services were on his case. His name is on file. He's considered a criminal who did not show up for court because they were investigating, and there's a court date. They had set it. But he left. So dia lari negara. And masa dia lari negara, he DM I. He DM, see you soon, my love. I'm leaving now, but I will come to protect you again. I macam, apa benda ni? And during the course of the whole thing, masa investigation tu kan, the police were like, hey, can you log in, what's the story, like what did he do to you and everything. So when he was in the UK, he started to send me video lucha. I macam at first I was like, video apa ni? Because I had to record it for, investigation purposes. And the first thing I saw was his alat sulit. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And because the thumbnail was a photo of me. So I macam, apa ni kan? And it was a photo of me on a laptop. And he was like masturbating to it. And I scrolled.
Was it like a sexy photo or just a normal photo?
It was my normal photo from Instagram that he screenshot.
Oh.
And there was an account that he had made that was so full of ayat-ayat lucha. It was so full of voice notes of dia buat benda lucha. It was so full of like this really, really disgusting things. And I could not believe it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, if he had actually found me without any police, like he would, there is serious things that he might do to me. I macam dah takut gila. But he left for Malaysia and I was like, okay, for now, there's a case, I'm in London. This was in April. And then that July, my best friend kat Malaysia was getting married. And they were like, come, we miss you, come, we celebrate. And I was like, okay, I'm coming back to Malaysia, ada plan. A week before I balik, he started DM lagi banyak. I don't know.
Dia tahu ke you nak balik?
Tak, dia tak tahu. But he started DMing me again like, oh, I miss you, blah, 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 blah. Like, I want to isap you too. I want to kiss you too. All those things. Acacia, your tooth is so nice, so wet, blah, blah, blah. That sort of thing.
So comfortable.
Yeah. And he would send voice notes of him saying that. And I had to listen to it because I had to log into the investigation. What? Apa benda ni? So
throughout the 3 months dia duk DM you juga.
Yes,
masa dekat sana.
Non-stop.
Tata dia ada je nampak you tapi dia macam konon-konon dia ingat dia protect you kan.
Maybe dia siap macam cakap, oh, I wait for you kat Hyde Park. That sort of thing. So
But you were not going to Hyde Park at that time
Sometimes I lalu. Like on the way to wherever, And then so masa tu I dah balik Malaysia and I was like, I cannot do this. Like, he's in Malaysia. I cannot go back to somebody who can find me, who knows where I live in Malaysia. Like, I'm done. Like, I cannot.
Protection lah.
There's not. Yeah, like what's the use of this law? Like, what's happening? Like, I was in such a low place. I was like, there was nobody that was going to help me, and I was feeling so hopeless. I was being hit by anxiety that at one point I was like, maybe it's my fault. Maybe kalau I tak show my work online, maybe kalau I tak exist, maybe kalau I tak move to UK, this guy would not find me, this guy would not hurt me. And you got so into your head that you're like, okay, then maybe I shouldn't exist anymore. There was one night before I was to fly back to Malaysia that I thought, maybe I don't deserve to fly back. Maybe I don't even deserve to have friends. Maybe I don't deserve to have a career. Maybe I don't deserve to have anything if the result is this guy who is sending me these disgusting things. Maybe this is my worth. Maybe this is my nasib. Like, this guy who sees me as this sexual object, as this toy, dia kat on public he's like quoting hadith semua to his friends, dia macam normal. Tapi in my DMs he's sending me all these lucha things that I cannot unsee. Maybe that is, I macam betapa jatuhnya darjat I sebagai perempuan. Like, there is no respect there. Like, if somebody can do this to me and nobody is stopping it, apa maruah I? Like, what is my point? Baik I tak payah do anything in my life. My friends had to pull me down from the balcony at the back of our apartment.
Oh my God.
They were
Are
like,
you serious?
calm down. They were like, calm down. It's
you
fine.
were already at the balcony?
I was holding on. I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot live like this. He was still sending messages. I've told him to stop so many times. I've asked so many people for help. Nobody could do it. I was like, I cannot go back to Malaysia. I cannot do this. Like, there's no point. Like, kalau a happy occasion like my friend getting married was reduced to this, if my value was reduced to this, there's no point to anything. They calm me down. They're like, it's okay. Like it's too far. Come, let's we're here. My friends came daripada like the other side of London. Like 2 of them were like, come down. Let's just take this 1 hour at a time. I dah nangis.
You were back in London lah?
I was in London. I was like, I can do this. You are so overwhelmed because your vision was reduced to this because nobody else could see it. Only you could see it and nobody believed you and nobody could I was putting up with it for 6 years, 6, 7, 8 years of my life putting up with this, and it culminated to a point where it was his alat sulit against my face and dipancut. And I'm like, that's me. That's my face. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to have anything to do with that. And it affects you how you see yourself, because you're a visual person. You're like, you know, you value yourself. And then bila orang dah buat you macam tu dari in such a disgusting, perverse, physical way, like terang-terang depan mata you without any sort of respect, any sort of remorse, you macam, and it's personal, it's you. And bukan satu, banyak, non-stop. Dia screenshot I daripada bertahun-tahun lepas. Dia cakap, oh cantik lah you punya bentuk ni, tembam lah you punya ni. You know, you're like, oh my god, this is my worth to this person. This person sees me like this. There's somebody out there who like terang-terang, tak ada malu, tak ada apa, yang disrespect me like this. My friends calm me down enough, and I just sat down on a sofa, and without thinking, I drafted a series of tweets that ceritakan the story from A to Z. I was like, if I was going back to Malaysia, this is my protection. If anything happens to me in Malaysia, this is my protection. And I posted it. The
thread. I think that's
the
where
Twitter
I
thread.
saw, yeah.
The Twitter thread. And then I got on my flight. I landed in Malaysia. The story had gone viral. It wasn't my intention. I didn't plan it. It was just like something that I felt like, you know, I cannot go
during that moment.
Exactly. I cannot live like this. It went viral. Police started calling, and then alhamdulillah, like it got the attention of so many people, so many media. And the next day, if I'm not mistaken, like Fahmi Fazil's Menteri Digital responded to it.
Was it Fahmi Fazil back then?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. He responded, the Menteri Digital. Yeah, so they responded to it, and I think it was because of his response that everything sort of accelerated.
People take it serious, right?
Yeah, it started to be taken seriously.
Wow.
And then alhamdulillah, because the law was in the works. And people were calling out, like, hey, what's the point of having this law? This law exists. Let's make it work. And
so the law memang was already
it was on the way.
To,
it was on the way. And then alhamdulillah, like, Azalina's law minister team also
Azalina
got into the conversation.
So they passed it for you. They helped
They helped expedite it. Yes, they helped expedite it because they were like, recognize that this is
a real problem.
And it wasn't just me. So many people were coming up with the stories.
I also have a few kawan.
Exactly. So many people could relate to it because they're like, yeah, over these years, whenever people experience this, authorities were just like, it happens, you know, get over it. It's not a crime. But it's something so detrimental to your mental health. And then macam, alhamdulillah, like, things menis tak jadilah. And throughout the whole time, while I was thankful, I also had to just like stay calm. You had to hold on to your own grace and politeness to not menjerit kat semua orang cakap, I told you about this 6 years ago. You know, you were like, I was suffering from this for so long, and now finally you want to listen to me? I siap marah-marah, maki-maki the police. I was like, listen, I came here 6 years ago, and they were like, yeah, kita faham puan, tapi we're doing our very best to make sure that this goes. And alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah and by everybody's help, by the Digital Minister of Law, by the police, by my lawyer helped draft so many letters. Kita orang ulang alik police station sampai pukul 3-4 pagi. And then the law got passed through, and he became the first person to be charged. It wasn't an individual effort. It was like years in the making. It was so many things had to be in place for him to be charged. But what I'm glad is that it became a thing that people were more aware of. Yeah. It was so weird because Aida gone. Like I wasn't there. I was just going through it mentally because Aida macam penat. Aida sangat penat.
Must be torturing, eh?
Yeah. I didn't know who I was anymore because you were so disgusted with yourself. And people knew you as that person. You yang kena stalk tu kan? You lah yang kena stalk tu. I went everywhere like, how's your stalker ah? Dia macam orang nak tahu. And it's good but bad because you're like, I've seen myself through the eyes of the stalker and I don't want to have any part in this, but you have to talk about it. And you have to find a way to see the good in it. Dalam segeli-geli, sekecil-kecil you rasa, shameful as I was to treat that story, you had to still talk about it and find the good in it. And I think that was one of the hardest parts that I had to do. Because Aida tak rela. Aida tak nak. There was a reason why I shouted it out. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And people were like, you have to talk about this. You know, talk to the media about this. We didn't want to hear a story. And you have to just like, okay, here's the story. Here's what happened. I hope somebody can do something about it. I'm glad somebody's doing something about it. If you're facing it, do something about it. Don't put up with it. And, you know, it was only like a year later that I baru dapat proses. I baru dapat macam, it was a good thing. But at the time, honestly, I rasa macam I wanted to like just be gone from the place.
Yeah, I didn't realize how
Severe.
and impact, how it impacted someone's life kalau someone stalk kan. I always thought macam, I mean, kita pun tak boleh nak salahkan polis tu sangat sebab you know a lot of people are not aware of this kind of thing. Betul lah, orang stalk, orang follow you kat Instagram, people must be like macam alah itu je ke, you go overthinking. But actually when I tahu that dengar you punya story ni coming from your point of view, then I realise that how big of a problem it is to someone's life. Sebab you feel so unsafe, you feel like you know somebody is macam, you know kau naik tangga tu kau rasa macam ada hantu kat belakang kan.
Yalah.
But this one is not just masa kat tangga segelap tu je, it's like every day of your life. So it must be like torturing lah. It's like living in a jail within a free world. You get what I mean? So I think you are very strong to have faced that. But from this kan, apa yang you nampak, macam tadi kan you cakap dalam seburuk-buruk kejadian tu adalah something yang you boleh nampak
lessons.
kebaikan atau lesson. Is there any lessons
So dia macam
you've learned from this whole experience?
the thing about stalking and harassment is that it's an invisible crime. Like you said, nobody knows what's going on except for the victim. Only the victim who has experienced it will know who that person, what that person is capable of. It's almost like domestic abuse. It's almost like things that happen behind closed doors, things that happen online. Only the victim knows how it feels. And the mentality about this sort of things early on is that what happens behind closed doors happen behind closed doors lah. Tak payahlah nak buka aib. Even when it went viral, some people like, kenapa nak buka aib mamat ni? That sort of thing. And alhamdulillah, we have reached the point, inshallah, as a community, as a nation, now that this law has passed, that we recognize that actually this is wrong. This is not acceptable. We are slowly progressing to a more mature state collectively where we say actually people's safety is important and mental health is also important. So in a way, the fact that it went viral and so many people were aware of it, I'm glad that people now know that there is a law that exists that can protect people about this.
Yeah.
Because so many people come up and be like, how we have this stalker too, like how do I, what do I do? And I direct them to organizations, I direct them to lawyer, because you still need, it's a community effort to help people stay safe. It's not just on an individual scale. Like everybody needs to just come together and just like protect each other and support victims in a way. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, with social media comes good things like advantages for businesses to do marketing cheaper and whatnot. Also comes with its
but I think at the same time, what you have done, you have actually mungkin merubah banyak orang lain punya nasib.
Correct.
People who might have been a victim, tapi sebab you buat apa yang you buat ni, orang yang mungkin akan jadi victim akan tak terjadi victim sebab adanya this kind of law, and takutnya dia orang kepada this kind of law. At least there is a safer environment that you have created based on this experience. Macam orang kata lah, you umpama macam lilin lah, you menyinari orang lain punya kehidupan walaupun you terbakar at that time kan. You had to go through what you had to go through, but in the end of the day for a greater good of a bigger community kan. And I think this experience juga, I harap it make you a stronger person. I don't think you should look at yourself as somebody yang like what you
kecil and all this that you mentioned, right?
Just because some crazy guy did what he did to you, because that would be unfair to what you have done in your whole life kan. So thank you for sharing that, and I think it's brave of you also to share that with us, and I think a lot of people also wanted to know that story, and I appreciate you telling us that lah. Alright, so before we end, Acacia, mungkin we want to ask you, macam for the people out there kan, especially for our audience kan, how what's your advice to them if they want to be the best version of themselves?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Final advice.
If you want to be the best version of yourself, do not settle for less. Don't think that you don't deserve your dreams. And inshallah, if you work hard enough, you'll get there. Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Short but sweet.
Short but
Can.
sweet, yeah.
Anything you want to say before we end?
All right, so I want to say thank you so much, Acacia, for sharing your life.
Acacia.
Acacia, sorry. I'm not very good with words. As you can see. Right? Thank you so much. I understand it must have been hard for you to open up. But I really appreciate you sharing. And me personally, I learned a few things where from through your life's journey, never settle for less, as you said. And it's been demonstrated by what you shared. Like, you stick to your program. Like, I believe in that too. Like, stick to your program. Like, what you want, and never settle for less. Whatever people say, whatever you say no to people, to things now. If you say yes to things now, it's actually saying no to your future. So you demonstrated through your life. And I love the part where you said that you were in a car and then delivering your your art, and at the same time Istana is asking. That was amazing. So it shows that you stick to your program and you stand for what's right. These are all very, very good lessons that I can take out from this. And jaga restu ibu also. Yeah, not to miss that. Right?
And
Thank
I think
you so much
also
for
owe her
sharing.
an apology.
On record? Yeah. Okay, and I would like to say sorry as well for a history that we know, but I think off record I said sorry more than 5 times, right? But now I say it on record as well. I'm sorry because to me, like how Ashraf said, we don't really know the severity until we actually, you know what I mean?
Hear the story.
Hear the story itself, and like that. So I'm really, really sorry from my side as well. And thank you so much for spending time with us, right? And I hope you have a safe journey back to London, and hopefully we can hang out more.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright. So I pun nak cakap terima kasih juga kat you for making the time here. I think I tried to get you here before, maybe a year ago or something like that, kan?
Yeah.
Or maybe a few months. Masa the last time you were back, and then dia tak nak, kan? Dia jual mahal. But Alhamdulillah, this time around she said yes. And I think people need to know your story also. And I think not just the the harassment story, but also who you are as a person. I think you have done so well for yourself. You know, I mean, I pun so proud to see how much you have done and how far you have come in life. You know, doing something that you're passionate about, doing something that you love.
Very admirable, right?
Yeah. And in living life with purpose.
Yep.
Because I think some people, macam you cakap lah, some people measure success based on how much money you have. But actually, success has different forms. As long as you are living your best life, doing what you love, and being the best at what you do,
Betul.
then you are living a fulfilled life. So, I think, and you are very successful at your own way, kan, and what you have done. And I hope you become even bigger after this. And mungkin lepas apa cerita lagi gempak. Kita tak tahu. No, and also, of course, thank you so much also for sharing your story about the stalking case. I think a lot of people can learn from it. And as men juga, kita pun, you know, we have to talk
Reminder
to other men juga. Don't be creepy, guys.
Yeah.
You know, if you want someone,
Do it in style.
Yeah, do it in style. If you want someone, if they say no, you got to respect that. You know, but if you know, so. And you know, I hope that you know you continue to live your dreams and you will achieve greater success in life.
Inshallah.
Any last words from you?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, guys. And Ishraq, thank you for saying what you said. I know we talked off record for the apology. For everybody who wasn't aware, there was a comment that Ishraq made that he knew the stalker and that he was a good guy. And I understand that a lot of people, when they don't know the story, they just see it from their perspective. So it's important that we always have conversations and share. And I appreciate that you take the time to apologize and acknowledge people's experiences, even though we have different experiences with the same person.
Yep.
And Ashraf, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I love what you guys are doing. Inshallah, it'll be much better.
Thank you so
But
much.
I just want to say to anybody who might be experiencing the same thing out there, like I said, don't settle for less in the sense that if anybody or anything is making you uncomfortable, kalau you rasa sedikit rasa macam tak safe or macam pelik sikit, stop. Like cut it off immediately. Like block it immediately, report it immediately. Like alhamdulillah, there's a law now, so you have the agency to make a report and find a lawyer, find a police, and get something done and stay safe.
Alright, so thank you so much
Thank
again,
you so much.
Acacia, and thank you to you guys for staying tuned throughout the show. And
Yes.
I hope you guys learn a thing or two from this episode. And insyaAllah next week kita akan kembali lagi dengan new episode.
Yes.
And make sure you guys catch us then. Alright.
Alright.
So till then, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.